Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix.
For 4 years straight, Formula 1 almost felt predictable. Red Bull and Max Verstappen were simply untouchable. Every weekend, it was the same story. Fastest in qualifying, leading in the race, and winning with huge gaps. Records were broken, championships were wrapped up early, and fans started to wonder if Formula 1 was entering another long period of domination, just like we saw with Mercedes before. And that's the thing, when one team dominates so much, people start to believe it will never end. Max looked unbeatable, and the car was like a rocket ship on wheels. But Formula 1 always changes, and 2025 has been the year when everything turned upside down. McLaren stepped up, Red Bull suddenly looked weak, and Max, instead of leading the championship, is only sitting in third place. It's a big shock for fans who got used to Red Bull winning with ease. Yet, just when it looked like the Red Bull era was over, something changed. After the summer break, Verstappen reminded everyone why he's a 4-time world champion.
Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix.
With a strong second place in Zandvoort and a dominant win in Monza. Suddenly, people started asking the question again, is Verstappen really back and can Red Bull rise with him? That's exactly what we're going to dive into in this video. We'll look at how Red Bull collapsed in 2025, the chaos inside the team, the surprising comeback signs after summer, and what their future could look like. So let's start with the fall. At the very beginning of the season, it actually looked alright. Max was still picking up podiums, he even got a couple of wins. And Red Bull fans thought, okay, maybe it's not a total domination, but we're still in the fight. But then, race by race, the car started to drop back. The performance didn't just slip, it fell off a cliff. Suddenly, they were making mistakes, the car wasn't reliable, and it just didn't look like the same machine we saw in the previous 4 years. The best example of this came at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Normally, Red Bull had been strong there in the past, but this time they looked like a midfield team. The car had no pace at all. Max, who usually finds something extra, couldn't save them. It was almost shocking to see Red Bull so far off the front. Still, because Max is Max, he kept fighting. He is now holding on to third place in the championship, but not much more. Without him, Red Bull might be way lower in the standings. And the situation with the second driver shows this even more clearly. Whoever drives next to Max always struggles, but in 2025 it has been awful. The second seat has barely scored any points across the whole season. At first, you could think it's about talent, but look closer, every second driver in recent years struggled in Red Bull, and that's probably because the car is built so much around Max's driving style. What makes him so fast also makes the car harder for others to handle. In fact, some of those same drivers actually looked better once they were sent to the Racing Bulls, the junior team. And that's crazy when you think about it, because Racing Bulls are supposed to have a weaker car. That was already shocking, but what came after made it even worse. Because while the car was dropping in performance, the team was also going through chaos off the track. Christian Horner, who had been leading Red Bull for 20 years, was suddenly gone. Just like that, the man who built the team into a powerhouse was kicked out. In his place came Laurent Mekies, the former Racing Bulls team boss. Now, Mekies' experience, but taking over a giant like Red Bull is not easy. The transition was rough, the results on track didn't improve, and fans started to worry. Could Red Bull keep up with the rising competition? And then the rumors started. Stories that Max Verstappen himself could leave for Mercedes in 2026. Imagine that! The driver who defined Red Bull's success leaving to join the team that used to be their biggest rival. That rumor alone created even more pressure inside the team. To make it worse, sometimes Racing Bull's drivers look stronger than Red Bull's second driver. That made everyone ask, is the main car actually that bad? Or is it just completely built for Max alone? At this point, things looked dark. But then, just when it seemed like Red Bull were finished, something crazy happened. Because after the summer break, Red Bull looked like they found something again. At Zandvoort, Max's home race, the team wasn't the fastest, but Max did what he always does. He got everything possible out of the car. He finished second, helped a little by Lando Norris having an issue in the last few laps. But still, it felt like a step in the right direction. Then came Monza, and Monza was different. It wasn't just a small improvement, it was Red Bull showing flashes of their old power. From the start of qualifying, Max looked strong, and in Q3 he broke the all-time lap record of Monza. That was a huge moment. In the race, things were a bit messy at the start, but nothing Max couldn't handle. Once he got going, he completely controlled the race. His pace was even better than McLaren's, and when the checkered flag came, he finished more than 19 seconds ahead of second place. That was the biggest winning gap of the season so far. For the first time in 2025, Max looked happy with the car. After the race, he even praised it, saying it finally worked the way he wanted. Fans felt it too. The buzz was back, the confidence was back, and suddenly people were asking, is Verstappen really back? Okay, so Max showed he still got it, but can that really last? The next stop is Azerbaijan in Baku, and this is a track that usually suits Red Bull. It has a really long straight, and Red Bull have often been strong there in the past. So there's a real chance Max would fight for another podium, maybe even a win. But after that, things look less promising. Singapore comes next, and that has never been a good track for Red Bull. Even in 2023, the year when Red Bull won every race except one, Singapore was the only race they lost. It's a tricky street circuit, and it has always been a weak point. The rest of the calendar also raises questions. The races are outside of Europe, which means different climates, different track surfaces, and conditions that might not fit Red Bull's car. Sure, they could grab a few podiums here and there, and maybe a win if everything goes right. But expecting another Monza level domination, that might be too much. And if that wasn't enough to worry about, the future brings even more uncertainty. Because 2026 is coming soon, and with it, brand new regulations. The cars will look and perform completely differently. Every team is already working hard on the new era, and nobody knows who will get it right. For Red Bull, the situation is even trickier. Honda, their current engine partner, is leaving, and Ford is coming in. But here's the thing, the Ford deal was Christian Horner's project. He was the one pushing for it, and now he's no longer part of the team. Without him, can Red Bull really manage such a big change? They are already developing the 2026 car, but history shows us that even the best teams can get new rules wrong. Remember Mercedes in 2022? After years of dominance, they suddenly dropped to the midfield because they missed the new regulations. Could the same thing happen to Red Bull? And then there's Max himself. If Red Bull can't give him a car capable of fighting for championships, will he stay, or could he look for a fresh start elsewhere, maybe even at Mercedes? After all, one dominant driver can only do so much if the car isn't there. So with that in mind, the big question returns. Is Verstappen really back, or was Monza just a glimpse of past glory? Let's quickly sum it up. Red Bull collapsed in 2025. The car dropped in performance, and the second driver struggled badly. The team went through chaos with Horner leaving and rumors of Max's future filling the paddock. Then came the summer break, and suddenly Red Bull looked alive again. A second place at Zandvoort, a dominant win at Monza, and for the first time this season, the car actually seemed to work. But looking ahead, things are still mixed. Some podiums are possible, maybe even another win, but don't expect them to dominate every weekend. And with the 2026 regulations, the Ford engine, and all the changes inside the team, the long-term future is a big question mark. What's certain though is this: Verstappen is still one of the best drivers on the grid. If he has the car, he can win almost anywhere. So the real mystery is whether Red Bull can give him that car again.